So this is the meditation on overcoming glamour. It's also known as fancy in the Yoga Sutras of Pantanjali. And this particular meditation goes with the Yoga Sutras Book 1, Sutra 9 on glamour or fancy. But it can be used at any time with any of the courses in the Peaceful Self-Process series. And as always, before you begin a meditation like this, make sure you're in a quiet place where you will not be interrupted and have something to write with during and especially after the meditation if you need to make notes. So begin by selecting a glamour or fancy you feel you may be struggling with. If you need to have an understanding of what this is, stop the video and go back and watch the video on what glamour is and pick a glamour from that video. Remember, a glamour is usually something based upon an emotional reaction. So select that glamour now that you feel you may be struggling with. To help you to identify what it is, simply consider some way you may be having an emotional trigger or reaction. And get an understanding of what that is and name it if you can. Now, after you've named that glamour, take some time to just mentally contemplate it. How is it playing out in your life? How is it impacting you? How is it impacting your nervous system, your ability to function? How is it impacting your work or creativity or your ability to relate to others? It might even be impacting your sense of prosperity. Just continue to get a sense of how that glamour is impacting your life. Chances are, as with any glamour, it's doing so in a fairly destructive way. It's not really a good coping mechanism. It's not really getting you what you truly want that will lead you to greater happiness and peace and contentment. So once you've had time to mentally review the glamour, we're going to go into a more formal meditation on dispelling the glamour. And if you haven't sufficiently mentally reviewed it, pause the video here and finish that process. If you have sufficiently reviewed it, get yourself quiet. And for this part, you might even want to close your eyes. Make sure you're sitting comfortably. And just focus for a moment on your breathing. Make sure also that you're not squinting your eyes or holding them tightly. Just make sure the muscles in your face are relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed, your eyes are relaxed. Just relax as you go through this exercise. Now we're going to take some time to create what I call a soul-mind-brain alignment. And we start this alignment by remembering that you are the peaceful self. You have these glamours or this glamour, but you're not this glamour. You are the peaceful self. You have this trigger or these triggers, but you are not these triggers. You're not these issues. You're not these problems. You may have them, but you are not them. You are the peaceful self. Then attempt to quiet your mind, which in turn quiets the activity of your brain. And the best way to do this is just attempt to listen. Your mind is quiet when you're listening to me, but in the silence also take the attitude of the listener. As if there is something very important you want to intuit, to see or hear. That alone will help you quiet the mind and your exterior senses. Now imagine that you are the peaceful self. And as that self, you are throwing a light down through your mind, through the consciousness, the various levels of consciousness, through that, into your actual physical brain. If need be, you can see that light entering the center of your brain. Brain cavity, sometimes known as the cave. You are the peaceful self throwing down light through the various levels of consciousness into the center of your head, the center of your brain, into the cave. Now see this light building within the center of your brain, as if it is a searchlight gaining focus in intensity. That light is building. As it does so, it's starting to flood your consciousness and flood the brain and the neurons with light, with insight. Once you have built the potency of this searchlight enough, imagine that it is being thrown down or out, or however which way you want to see this searchlight operating, into the glamour you are working with, like a high intensity light breaking through a thick fog. If need be, even name the glamour you're working with. And then see this high intensity light breaking through the glamour, as if the glamour is like clouds breaking your true realization of yourself as the peaceful self. Breaking through the glamour, the clouds, the fog. As the light from the peaceful self you are is being thrown into the fog of the glamour by the way of the searchlight, strengthen your will or desire to be free from this glamour or fancy once and for all. You really want to be free from this. Strengthen that will. You really want to be free from this glamour. Continue to imagine the light of this peaceful self that you are, breaking up the fog of the glamour, allowing reality to become increasingly revealed to you. If this glamour is unreal, what is real? Who are you? Who are you really? You are the peaceful self. You are humble, connected, capable of understanding, compassion, wisdom. You are capable of peace, insight, and from this place the glamour can no longer influence you. Reality is revealed to you. And say to yourself, the power of the light negates the ability of this glamour to impact me. The power of this light negates the ability of this glamour to impact me. Notice what happens as you say this. If need be, say it again. The power of the light negates the ability of this glamour to impact me. Continue to imagine the light of the peaceful self you are completely destroying the glamour so it no longer has any effect or any impact on you. And start to get a sense of how you are. Remembering again, you are that peaceful self. How are you relating to the situation or problem now that you are regaining your sense of self, your sense of peace? Then sound the Om, the primordial sound, remembering you are the peaceful self. And when you're ready, conclude this meditation.